Thank you, everybody, for coming here today. I'm very happy to welcome Commissioner Simson to Stockholm today, and we just had a very nice and fruitful meeting. We have discussed the situation in Ukraine and how EU can help in the best possible way. I raised that European Union must cut its dependency on Russian fossil fuels and ensure security of supply and to reduce price effects for consumers. We have an urgent need for alternatives to gas, and this clearly shows that the European Union must not restrict domestic fossil-free energy production, such as sustainable biomass fuels. I also mentioned to the Commissioner that I find it very counterproductive to introduce new restrictions on bioenergy, the dominant form of renewable energy in the EU, when we need to cut our dependency on Russian fossil fuels. We also discussed the electricity and transport fuel markets, and I mentioned the compensation scheme deployed by the Swedish government. This Monday, we presented a package of 14 billion kronor in measures with efforts in both the short and long term. Sweden is open to discuss how EU can further develop the current electricity market design while maintaining the functioning of the market. I also mentioned the production of fossil-free steel in northern Sweden and how Sweden as a country can cut its total emissions by 10% with this new technology. However, the production requires an increased amount of electricity. I'm therefore concerned that proposals from the Commission regarding requirements of additional renewable electricity will slow down the industrial transition in Sweden. We need more flexibility and less detailed rules for the industry. Finally, I would like to stress the importance of unity and cooperation within the European Union during these difficult times. The Commission has a key role in ensuring that we manage both the consequences of the Russian invasion and achieve our climate objectives. I'm very impressed by Commissioner Simson's efforts, and I really appreciate our meeting today.
Thank you, Minister. Dear journalists, good afternoon, and I'm very happy to be here in Stockholm. This is actually my second visit as Commissioner for Energy to Sweden, and as an Estonian, I always feel the same wavelength with Swedes. I have enjoyed my 2-day visit here, especially the chance to visit some very innovative companies in northern Sweden, which are emblematic of what our Green Deal means in practice. Now about our today's meeting with Minister. We last met a couple of weeks ago at extraordinary energy ministers meeting in Brussels, and lots have happened since then. Well, we know that the fighting in Ukraine is ongoing. This unprovoked and unjustified military action by what Russia is grossly violating international law is undermining European and global security and stability. And we deplore the loss of life and human suffering. And of course, we call on Russia to immediately cease the hostilities. But we are also actively working on ensuring that Ukraine can maintain stable electricity and gas supplies despite the war. And we stand with Ukraine and must remain united within the European Union. European Commission outlined also last week a plan called Repower EU to reset Europe's energy system, because our dangerous dependence on Russian fossil fuels is very clear. In simple terms, Repower EU is a plan to get rid of our dependency from Russian gas and oil and coal, and doing it by diversifying our supplies, but also massively investing in renewables and boosting energy efficiency. Russia provides currently more than 40% of natural gas imports to the EU, and imports from Russia also account for 27% of oil imports and 46% of coal. And I am very happy to note that your country's dependence towards Russia as energy supplier is much lower than the EU-27 average. And you are perfectly positioned to ramp up renewables production. Sweden is an example that the Union can actually phase out its dependence from imported fossil fuels and be competitive and innovative. And these topics, along with energy security, were the main themes in our discussion today with the Minister. And in addition, of course, we addressed the surge in energy prices. We are aware that the prices have also surged here in Sweden over the past weeks. And that is why the Repower EU communication also proposed additional solutions to tackle this situation. We will present in the coming days options for action that the EU leaders can discuss at the forthcoming March European Council. I thank you once again for receiving me, and now we are ready for questions.
Tack så mycket. Då går vi över till frågor. Och då kan vi börja med vad sa du? TT.
Thank you. One question for the commissioner. Could the minister is saying that Sweden should, or the EU should cut its dependency on Russian gas and oil. Do you think Sweden could be a country advocating for a complete independence of Russian gas and oil in the EU?
Well, we have mapped our dependency at EU level, and every member state do have different energy mix and different level of imports. That said, Commission proposed already last week our plan how we can cut significantly our imports from Russia by the end of this year. And there are mainly three pillars. And we will target especially Russian gas because this is transported via pipeline and it will not be so easy for Russia to find other markets fast. On crude oil that is transported by via tankers, this is easier for Russia. And how we can replace Russian gas imports with something else. We have reached out to all our international partners, and 50 billion cubic meters annually could be replaced by other producers, starting with United States and Qatar, who are providing us LNG, Europe, and then countries who transport their gas via pipelines, Norway, Algeria, Azerbaijan. This is 1/3 of Russian imports. Another important work stream is to ramp up our renewables production. And we have announced that Europe, for example, could double the biogas production within a year. And third one is energy efficiency, because many European countries are heating their homes by using natural gas. And if you will have better insulated environment, then you will consume less. But this is a plan that we will propose to member states, and every member state has to do their utmost to materialize these proposals.
Tack så mycket för det. Då tar vi Sveriges Radio.
Yeah. Good morning. I wonder if you would like to consider to exclude the gas from the EU taxonomy?
Well, we still see that natural gas, will play a necessary role during our transition. And as I was explaining, yes, we do have strong dependency from imports from Russia, but we do have other trustworthy partners. And when we reached out and asked them to, increase their production, then of course they needed some kind of market certainty to do those investments, because ramping up production very fast also requires from them necessary investments. So we will partially cover our consumption with natural gas, but of course to achieve climate neutrality, gas market has to be decarbonized, and I'm very proud to say that only last December we proposed gas market decarbonization plan along with a hydrogen proposal, and this is very relevant still now.
Another question. As you heard, Sweden would like to expand the domestic production of bioenergy and biofuels, and also want like to EU to release the rules. What do you comment on that?
Well, we need to replace our imports with homegrown renewables, and in this regard, renewable electricity already is very competitive. The countries who do have bigger share of renewable electricity in their energy mix actually enjoy the more affordable prices than these member states who are dependent on gas. And of course, partially you can replace natural gas with other molecules that are green ones and domestically produced biogas, green hydrogen. And we will prioritize these investments. We will ask member states to ramp up their investments in these sectors. And as I was mentioning, yesterday I saw some very good examples how it is possible to keep your competitiveness, to provide jobs, and by doing so still decarbonize your industrial processes. For example, by using green hydrogen.
The biofuels from grain or from forests?
If they are done in sustainable way, then we calculate biofuels as renewables. The same is in heating sector. Well, we do have several member states who are not dependent on imported fossil gas because they cover their heating needs with locally produced biomass. And according to our renewables directive, this is the way forward because you cover your consumption with local resources.
Tack. Då tar vi en sista fråga från Bloomberg News.
Hi. Could you tell anything more about the options for action? Would it be more like Pan-American for all member states, or would it be more like a toolbox they could choose from?
Because there is no member state who is in a similar situation than its neighbors, then we can't propose unified solution to all our member states. Everybody has to adapt our proposal to the domestic situation. And for example, if we are proposing the alternative distribution routes, how to replace Russian gas with natural gas from other regions, then we do have member states who have built up a impressive LNG network. They do have harbors, they do have LNG terminals, and they can ship in LNG vessels in the volumes that will help them. And then we do have member states who are landlocked. But luckily, since last gas crisis, we have built up also the pipeline infrastructure that allows us to help also landlocked countries with reverse flows. So these contingency plans are in place, and we can use them if there is an emergency. But as I was mentioning, alternative gas flows will not cover the full volume that we have been importing as EU from Russia in previous years. So there have to be also other measures, and we do prioritize the ramp up of renewables. So where you can produce electricity from renewables instead of using gas-fired power plants, this is very much needed right at this very moment.
Tack så mycket. Då har vi möjlighet att göra någon enskild intervju med vardera person innan vi går vidare. Tack.